So Laura Loomer is now questioning money in politics.
And what we need to have a conversation about is what is it going to mean for the future of our country, our national security, and the incoming Trump administration if we have a bunch of technocrats who are also essentially welfare queens because their companies are receiving government subsidies and they want to take over our defense industry. If you have a bunch of tech bros with billions of dollars and direct unfettered access to the vice president and the president of the United States, and then they are also, very cordial with our adversaries, as in China and Iran. We see that Elon Musk is having these meetings off the books with Iranian officials, with Chinese officials. What does that mean for us and the future of our constitutional republic?
Okay.
So Laura Loomer is still really, really upset with Elon Musk because during the whole Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk Twitter war that they had with MAGA, Laura Loomer's account was downgraded to the bare bones of downgradation. So she can't get any more subscribers. She can't monetize anymore. She is back to basics on her Twitter account, right? But she's not stopping. She is so mad. She does not like immigrants so much that she is still going with this fight. She doesn't care how bad Musk monetizes her. She is still attacking relentlessly. And now that Trump has come out against MAGA on this, and he has sided with Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy, because of that, now she is questioning money in politics. Like, wait, maybe it's not good if someone bankrolls your campaign and then you have them literally beside you all the time making decisions for you. Maybe that's not a good thing. I feel like progressives said that. Maybe something about 2015 and Bernie Sanders. But whatever, you can be 10 years late when it affects you in the way that progressives said it would affect you. But okay, you caught up. So I want to do a deep dive on the education system, how the right has characterized the education system, and how it has led us to this point, right? So starting, not necessarily from the beginning, because that would be a long video. Starting from the time they started saying everything was woke. You can't teach critical race theory because that's woke. You can't say anything about LGBT anything. Florida, I'm looking at you, because that's woke. You can't even have a book written by an author whose last name is gay. Florida, I'm looking at you. That's woke. You cannot have any type of inclusion whatsoever in your schools. Woke. There are even schools that do not allow locks. That's woke. This has been such a long game that the Republicans have been playing with their base. Calling everything woke and basically turning their base against education in general, having them ban books, history books, or books on inclusion that they don't like, has led us to this point. The reason why I say that is because when you can get a general public to hate something or disagree with something or fear something so much that they then want to defund it, they then want to destroy it, that is how they're winning. So they've called everything woke. They've lied by saying that kids are going to schools, getting gender reassignment surgeries, and then coming home without their parents' consent. I have a kid in school. They need consent to go to the movies, okay? Like, that is a lie. That is an absolute lie. And if you believe what Trump said about that, I would really, really question where you are getting your news, because that does not happen. Ever. Like, you need consent for them to have a pizza party. Anyway, because they have gotten people to hate the education system, they have now started this war on books. They started the war on books based on things like history, teaching about slavery, Jim Crow. And so that was uncomfortable for white people. Imagine how uncomfortable it was for the people that went through that. But anyway, that was uncomfortable for white people to listen to those stories. So they didn't want their kids listening to those stories, right? This happened about early 2000s or so. I believe it was during the Bush era. And so they wanted to take those books out. They wanted to rewrite the history and whitewash the history that was more comfortable for them. Then it went to the LGBT community. I don't want our kids reading any books about, love is love and this, that, and the other in those people. I don't want to do that. You can't have an author with the last name gay. Then the transgender movement happened, and now people are angry about bathrooms and sports and things like that. Because of that, people do not like the education system. People on the right and MAGA do not like the education system, so they want to dismantle it, destroy it. They were totally on board with that when Elon Musk said that, right? Elon Musk wanting to dismantle our education system, not put any money into our education system, want to defund our schools and make it harder for our kids to get a proper education. Elon Musk, the richest guy in the world, not hyperbole, wants to dismantle the American education system. Even though he is not American, he is South African, and he got his education over there, probably free, because that's what they do in every other country but ours, and came here, and he says on a H-1B visa, but I think he actually got it on a student visa, and then he overstayed his visa. So he was actually here illegally for a little while too. Just saying. So my point is, when you do that, the Americans' ability to keep up with the technology and education of the world is way more difficult. So if we don't start young in our schools, fund our schools, make sure our kids are able to eat, make sure that our kids are able to have a very well-rounded education, including history, including inclusion, including the math and sciences and STEM, even the arts have been proven to make people smarter. That's why some of the most intelligent people that you know also play the piano, or also play an instrument, or also dance, or also sing. You need a well-rounded mind. And Americans for years have been defunding all of America's education systems. We don't pay our teachers. We are totally okay with classrooms getting shot up. And that makes it so people like Elon Musk, with businesses that they want to run in this country, they can hire more educated people outside of the country for way lower dollars than they would have to pay us if we were, quote unquote, smart enough and educated enough to take those jobs. You got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene talking out of two sides of her face, saying kids are wasting their time on college, which is where you would get all of the education that you would need to take these high-paying jobs that the people with H-1B visas actually take. You need college, you need trade schools, you need all of those things. But it's a waste of time to Marjorie Taylor Greene, right? But at the other side of her face, she's talking about, you need to hire Americans. You know, we should hire Americans for these jobs. You cannot do both. You cannot defund our education system and make it more difficult for our children to learn, to become intelligent, and to take these higher paying jobs. You cannot charge our children 5 arms and 3 legs for college education that is free in other countries, and then get upset that they don't go to college or they don't have the credibilities to be able to take these jobs that the people coming from other countries whose education is free, who they do fund their lower education systems from a very young age all the way up. They take education very seriously, and they don't spend a lot of time on these woke ideas, this outrage about education being woke. You don't see that in other countries. They teach the curriculums, they figure out what curriculums would be best in order for the student to have the best outlook, and they go with that. They don't worry about all of this other stuff. They just teach the curriculums and they pay their teachers and they feed their kids, and it doesn't cost $50 a month to feed your kid. Arizona, I'm looking at you. So when people like Musk want to get rid of the education system to essentially make Americans dumber, and then heighten H-1B visas to hire from outside, he's doing 2 things that work better for him. If Americans are less intelligent, 1, they're easier to manipulate. I said that in another video. If you do not have intelligence, well-rounded intelligence, you will be easier to manipulate. You will be easier to tell any type of story to, i.e., their kids are going to school getting transgender operations without their parents' knowledge. If you believe that story, this is why Elon Musk and the right in general want you to have less education, because you believe stuff like that and you don't exhibit the critical thinking skills to be able to think that has to be untrue. After they fed you so much about the education system and how it's not doing this or not teaching our kids this, at the same time, they're trying to literally indoctrinate your kids by forcing them to read the Bible in a country that has the freedom of religion. Not just your religion, all religions. So what do we do as Americans? We need to stop with the woke outrage. It doesn't matter. Let people love who they love. Let people be who they are. We can argue the semantics of what age that needs to be, but I think with parent consent, I mean, you guys are okay with kids getting married and having children underage with parents' consent. Why aren't they able to change their genders with parents' consent? I digress. We need to stop with all of this kicking down. We need to stop demonizing immigrants and black and brown people and all of that. We need to stop demonizing intelligent people, books, whatever else. We need to fight for our kids' education. We need to have accurate historical facts. Curriculums when it comes to math and science. There was a report that came out that like over half the country only reads at a 6th grade level. I don't think you're going to be getting those STEM jobs that are being taken by people with H-1B visas if you're only reading at a 6th grade level. That's not going to happen for you. Let's put an effort into our education, into our kids' education. Teachers, stop telling kids that you're only in school to learn about what you need as an adult. No, learning is a process from birth to death. You learn everything that you can, when you can, how you can, from the moment you take your first breath to the moment you take your last one. We need to start forgiving debt for colleges. Biden did a really good job with that. Even though he was stopped by the Supreme Court, he would have done a lot more. We also need to start making colleges tuition free or way cheaper than they are now. It doesn't make any sense that someone gets into $40,000. That's good. That was back in my day. $40,000 of debt for only 4 years of a bachelor's degree. We can't deal with that and then also try to compete with the rest of the world who will pay for their students' college. They will send their students abroad. I know because I was in Japan for 2.5 years, a little bit over 2.5 years, and I met people from other countries. Their colleges sent them there. And it costs them only the cost of living in Japan in order to go. The program that they used to go there was free. Their education at their college at home was free. And they are incredibly intelligent people who speak 3 languages fluently. I thought I was good at Japanese. They were running circles around me. We need to start focusing on the education here. If you want America to truly be first, that is not something that I disagree with. But the thing is, you guys are saying America first. You want to have these jobs that just because you're Americans, and not jobs that you actually went to college and worked for, or went to trade school and worked for. You know, a lot of the politicians that you guys listen to were politicians who were given jobs that they did not earn. They were given positions that they did not earn, that they did not have to work for. We actually have to work for our jobs, and it comes from down below, our kids. If our kids do not start off with a good education, and I'm not just talking about kindergarten, we need to fix our daycare and preschool systems too, because it literally costs $2,000 a month. We need to put a lot more emphasis on education and a lot less of our attention on immigration.